So I'm excited tonight because, hey, look, it's the first day of the second half of the new year. It's not a new year anymore. Yesterday, I was telling my team it was the last day of the first half of the year. So before I even get started in the topics that we're going to talk about tonight, which is a mid-year update for multifamily, and I have some special guests. I have Alex Lovely, and he's going to pop in. Alex, why don't we unmute you and you can say hi to everybody.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, Alex, how you doing? Where are you coming in from?
Hey, good. I'm over here in Vegas.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
so we're going to be doing an event in Vegas, Alex, and you're going to be there, and we're going to talk about that event too.
yeah, definitely. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, so one of the things we're going to talk about tonight is like a mid-year update. So I have some charts and graphs from CoStar and Marcus and Millichap, and I'm going to talk about like where I think we're at in the market, and not just where I think we're at, but like where the data says we're at, because like everybody that may know me is I'm an engineer and MBA before I got into real estate. So I'm going to show you the data that's going to dial into like where we're at right now and what's happening in the market and what I'm excited about. And Bill Walsh is going to be on. I'm not sure if he's on yet, but Bill is a good friend of mine and he's a global business expert. And I think he's going to be coming on around 6:30-ish Central Time. And he's going to say a few things. And then this is really cool because Bill is like a very connected guy. And many of you from Texas might know Ken Paxton or know the name. And Ken is the Attorney General of the state of Texas under Governor Abbott. And he's running for Senate against the incumbent Senator Corrin, who's been like the longest serving senator. You think he's been there for like 35 years. But Ken is like really strong on some of the things that um, that you know that he's going to talk about, and I hope he could come on. He said he would be coming on, but I heard he had like a medical procedure or something. So I know Bill was like on the phone with him or trying to get him to make sure he could come on. Okay, so that's really exciting, and he's going to be talking about like why what he's doing and the positions that he stands for are not just impacting Texas, like immigration laws and tighter immigration and all those types of things. This is not just impacting Texas because there's only four states. I think there's four states that share a border with Mexico. There's Texas. Let's test my geography. Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and California. And the longest part of that border is Texas. So what happens in Texas is actually going to impact the whole country. Okay. And so Bill is very good friends with Attorney General Paxton, is running for Senate, and hopefully we'll be able to get him on tonight. Again, originally he said he could pop in for like 10 minutes. So wherever I am in the flow of things, if we could get Ken on, I'm going to stop and let him come on. Okay. So this is what we're going to be talking about. And then many of you know, for the first time ever, I'm going to take my 2-day training event, Rat Race to Retirement, that I've only done in Dallas up until now. And we're doing this event in Las Vegas, July 19 and 20. So we'll talk about that too. So let's get going, and want to make sure that I know how to drive my presentation here with all my new fancy equipment. So let's see. All right. So you guys should be able to see that. And I don't know where everybody just went on my view. Let me see. I feel like this is my first Zoom meeting I've ever done here. And could you guys just type in the chat if you could still see me in the screen, because I can't see you guys anymore. And I'm glad you could see me. So thank you. So for those of you that haven't met me before, or maybe you came here through a Facebook ad or somebody referred you, I'll just give you like a 5-minute overview about me. But prior to me getting involved in real estate, I was an engineer with an MBA. I struggled to climb the corporate ladder in corporate America. I was fired once and laid off once, and I was told I would never amount to anything more than middle management. And 23 years ago, I went to a Barnes and Noble bookstore and I picked up the Rich Dad Poor Dad book that, after reading that book and taking action, changed the entire trajectory of my life. Ended up going to a real estate investing seminar, learned their system, hired their mentor, and 8 months later bought a 32-unit building. And that was the beginning of a 22-year journey in real estate. Since then, I've had over 11,000 units, mostly as a general partner. 21 went full cycle. I haven't paid federal tax. Actually, I did pay federal tax in the tax year of 2023, but from 2018 to 2022, for 5 years, I paid no federal tax. And one of the reasons is they started phasing out the depreciation that was passed in 2017. And I'm going to talk about that tonight. I started mentoring other people after I quit my job, and I'm really proud of what my students have done, buying like literally billions and billions of dollars of apartment buildings all over the country in like 27 different markets, mainly in the Sun Belt, but not just in the Sun Belt. And yeah, and I've had, and many of you know, I'm not going to go into it tonight, but the last 2 years have been some challenges with me personally and in my business. And just to recap all that, I let God back into my life, and the last year has just been phenomenal. And I have renewed faith, and I really believe that finances is just one of the things that leads to fulfillment. And the other ones are going to be like faith, fitness, and family. So that's the new Brad. And I'm actually going by Bradley now because my mom used to call me Bradley. And I was my mom's angel. And so, yeah, feel free to call me Bradley. But that's a little bit about me. So look, my journey has been 22 years of figuring out. And look, I'm still figuring out. Even with all the experience I have, we're always learning, okay? And we're seeing things sometimes that we've never seen before. So you would think that after 23 years, I would have all the answers. And the truth is, I have a lot of the answers, but I don't have all of them, and nobody does. I have mentors that have 60,000 units, and some of them are having the same challenges, the same struggles, the same questions as we are, and as I am, and as you are. Okay. And David Moore is a great example. He just spoke at my mastermind that I did with my top level clients, my top level students. And I've put David up on a pedestal because he's got 35,000 units. And he came in and he was talking about, well, I was wrong about cap rates. I was wrong on my underwriting. I was wrong on this. I was wrong on that. And just like you guys, Brad, you and your mentees and your students, like, we're trying to figure out our next move, but yet they're aggressively buying because they see where we're at in the market cycle. So, you know, it was actually a breath of fresh air to hear a guy of that level of success, you know, be humble enough to admit that he doesn't have it all figured out. And this is why it's so important to be part of a community and learn from other people, you know, and learn how we're winning and learn how we're dealing with challenges and learn how we're doing with, you know, situations that some of us don't want to be in. And so the last couple of years were tough in multifamily, but where I see now, and Tony Robbins teaches this, is we got to be able to look backwards and learn how to recognize patterns, and not only recognize them, but utilize them. And I've been through the crash of 2008, 9, and 10. And so I see where we are now, and it reminds me of like 2012, 2013, when debt was more expensive than people were used to, and equity was skittish and staying on the sidelines. But there was massive, massive opportunity. And that's what I see right now. And I'm going to go into some charts and graphs, but I wanted to just hit a pause here and check with Alex and just dial you in, Alex, and see what you say, what you have to say so far about what I'm saying.
I think you're absolutely right on, Bradley.
Hey, what do you think of my new name?
I like it. Look, I mean, I'll probably take a couple times for me to get used to it, but I got it. I got it. I think you're absolutely right. Right now, banks, lenders are mostly all pencils down, you know, and I think there's a really tremendous opportunity here for people that are on this call, for all of us that are real estate investors, to really play in the game that wasn't available for us before. Be able to get in some larger deals as long as we're able to, embrace the mentality of partnership. The time of the lone wolfing, like that's not today. Today is the time of opportunities, and we have to find our tribe to do this with. And I think there's a tremendous opportunity that'll probably come only, maybe once or twice in our lifetimes. Especially for those that are like later in the game in real estate, like maybe once or twice you're going to see an opportunity like this. So I think you're absolutely right on that.
Cool. And I just had the chance to text Bill Walsh, and he's on the hold with Ken Paxton's office. So Ken had a minor medical procedure today. So we're trying to get him like at least a call-in number, even if he can't zoom in on a video. So I'm working on it. I'm working on it. And so yeah, let me pull up some stuff here. Alex, you haven't seen all this stuff before, but maybe you have. Let's see. All right, so still learning how to do this. Okay, so we should be able to see the screen again. Yes, we could see it. So these are 10 reasons why I'm excited. And it just occurred to me that today is July 1st. And so I didn't update that date there where it says 10 reasons to be excited about in June. But hey, if I was excited in June, I'm still excited because all of these things are still true. So look, we talked about where we are in the market cycle. Real estate's on sale. Everything peaked in 2022. Pricing is down 20 to 30%. The new development projects, which we refer to as starts, are at a 10-year low nationwide. And the demand for multifamily rental units is sky high, and it's going to go even higher as those starts. There's less starts now than there were in 10 years. And so it's going to take 2 to 3 years for like developers to, respond to that, and 2 to 3 years for projects to come online again. So we're going to be looking at like a 2 to 3 year runway of like really high demand. Occupancy is going to go up, rents are going to go up just because of that, not to mention inflation and any other factors. Buying single family homes in a lot of markets like Dallas, like Vegas, like Phoenix, like Charlotte, like Nashville, like Tampa, all these markets are markets where we're buying, and buying single family homes for ownership is becoming so much less affordable for working class families. And the thing is, so many people are on the sidelines. Like, we should be buying right now. Like Warren Buffett has a saying that says, be greedy when other people were fearful. And he also says, be fearful when other people were greedy. Well, right now, people were fearful and they're on the sidelines. So we need to have our pencils up. Like what I just shared at my mastermind last weekend in Dallas was like, we got to have our pencils up. We got to be underwriting deals. We got to be making offers. And I used to tell people, don't make lowball offers, because when it was a seller's market, you wouldn't get a good response. And brokers wouldn't want to deal with you, and they wouldn't want to bring you deal flow. But now, like, brokers are like begging us to make offers. Alex, any comments on that? Like, what are you seeing in your markets?
Oh, sorry, I was muting. Yeah, what I'm seeing a lot right now is that, there's a lot of, especially here in Vegas, like deals are available. Cap rates are higher, interest rates are higher, people aren't able to refinance. And I think there's a lot of deals that are available. And, if cap rates were lower in a different time, maybe 2, 3 years ago when cap rates were lower, we might not have some of the opportunities that we have today to buy some of the deals. There would be more people competing with it, and capital's more accessible. But today, I really think the opportunity is that if we can make a deal work at, 7% interest rate, like we need to buy that. And so, with more partnerships, with more people in a community together to buy, like we can buy something big, something
A
that's
thousand
generational.
percent.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like you just hit on it. Like the competition, like I've been in the business 23 years, Alex, and like I just don't see people making offers.
Yeah, when things are going wrong, this is something that Bill actually says. I hear him say this all the time. When things are going wrong, don't go wrong with it, or don't continue to go wrong with it, right? Like you have to look at like a bigger picture where yes, there's blood on the streets, but the opportunity is still there. And for me, like in our operations, we're not going to escape this whole correction period unscathed either. There's probably going to be some evaluation losses for some of our deals, but we're aggressively looking at what's the next opportunity as well, you know?
Yeah. And I think I mean, I'm doing the same thing. David Moore with
Yeah.
Nightfest is doing it. And that's what I think we need to be doing.
Mhm.
So, it's a buyer's market, and I'm really excited about the taxes. So I just saw a post on Instagram that the Senate passed 51-50. Their version of the House bill that passed. So the Senate made some tweaks, and let me just show you this. Yeah, because this is my next slide here. So Senate made some tweaks, and here's what we're looking at. And the first one is the big one that I want to talk about, because all these tax cuts that were made in 2017, including the 100% bonus depreciation, passed the House of Representatives, and it just passed in the Senate today. So there's going to be other changes that the Senate made, and now the House has got to vote on it. And I know Trump is pushing them to vote on it and pass it before July 4th. Now that July 4th is there's no magic deadline. That's Trump's self-imposed deadline. But you better believe it that he's going to be pressuring the House to just go ahead and pass this bill, because if the House makes any changes, then it has to go back to the Senate. At least that's how I understand it. And so there's going to be tons of pressure from Trump and from Speaker Johnson to just get this thing passed. But here's the good news. Even if it has to go back and forth, the House has all the tax cuts that were scheduled to be expiring and phased out. The House has it in their version of the bill, and the Senate didn't change it. Okay, they changed other things, and I'm not here to go through all the stuff in the tax bill. You could Google that. But the thing that I'm excited about is in 2017, when these tax laws were passed, they gave us this concept called 100% bonus depreciation. So what we do is we do a cost segregation study, and all the personal property that has a 5 and 15-year depreciation schedule under cost seg could be accelerated and depreciated in the year of acquisition. And it's huge. Okay, so it's all your 5 and 15-year property in your apartment building. You get to write it off in year one. And that was 100% through 2018 through 2022. And then you can see it started phasing out here. And now it's going to come back, and it's going to come back effective January 1st. So any investment you already made this year and any investment that you make the rest of this year, you're going to get phenomenal tax advantages. And it's the best tax advantage asset class in my lifetime. And I'm 58 years old. I don't know if you guys know that, by the way, but it's the best tax advantage asset class in my lifetime and in your lifetime too. So I came up with a saying, by the way: make apartments great again. And with President Trump's help and the House and the Senate, we're going to make apartments great again by having the best tax advantaged asset class in our lifetime. So I want to show you guys a couple more charts and graphs. And Alex, you want to chime in here with anything so far?
No, I'm really excited for the depreciation to come back. Like that's definitely I haven't paid taxes in the last 5 years also because of real estate.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
It's insane.
Yeah. So for those of you that are like out there saying, hey, like, could we, where's some good news? I mean, we're getting good news right now.
Hmm.
And here's the other good news, in my opinion, by the way, is like when Trump came in, everything was uber exciting that he was going to pass all these laws and policies that were going to, make the economy hum. And that didn't actually happen. Like there's a lot of uncertainty around tariffs. There's a lot of uncertainty around immigration, but now things are kind of settling. Okay. And I think we're kind of settling into, Trump's way of being, and even with political, one day he's bombing Iran, the next day we have a ceasefire, you know. So it's kind of a new world order, but I think people are starting to get used to his style of presidency and his style of governing. And I think the capital markets are starting to calm down. And look, everybody says we're going in a recession, but the stock market is like at the highest it's been. And I'm not a Bitcoin guy or a stock guy, but like everybody's talking about doom and gloom, but how come so many things are doing okay? Like any comments around that, Alex?
Yeah, we did see a dip in the stock market like, a couple months ago, but
We did.
we did because of all the tariffs and all these things. And when there's uncertainty, in what's going to happen, people move their money to something that's more secure, which would be like the treasury bonds, and mortgage rates are really attached to the 10-year treasury. And so when more people put money into that, the rates actually come down, right? So it's kind of like inverse for those of you guys that are new. Like if more people buy the bonds, the interest rates come down, and our mortgages are really attached to that. And so I think we're going to see a lot of stabilization. But people that bought deals in the last couple years, I mean, the evaluation's just not going to be there for a little bit. And so there's going to be challenges with refinancing, with all these loans coming due too, maturing in 2025. There's an opportunity to buy deals at 20-30% discount.
For sure.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
just not, that's if you're buying brick. If you're buying notes, I mean, banks are struggling because banks need to hold a 10% liquidity, so they're selling, some good notes at a discount as well. I think I just saw BlackRock picked up $2 billion, an entire portfolio from I think Atlantic Union, their entire portfolio of notes at like an 8% discount. $2
Yeah,
billion.
I saw that. I saw that too. That was in the Wall
They're
Street Journal
defaulting on
like
their
this.
loans and then they're just picking them all back up at a discount. It's crazy.
Yeah. Isn't that? Yeah. So, hey, look, I wanted to show you guys just some latest research that I pulled from CoStar. So we're looking at this is U.S. multifamily across all markets. We're looking at a forecasted vacancy rate of at the second quarter at 8.1%. Okay, and that's pretty low. Like that's a pretty good vacancy rate. And we're looking at positive rent growth again. And I wanted to show you this chart because you could see on this spreadsheet, when you look at where it says 4 and 5 star properties, these are like the A's and like the high B class properties. And they have the highest vacancy right now because of all the new supply that's been coming on. And when you look at the 3 stars are like your traditional B class properties and maybe your higher C grade properties. That vacancy rate is lower. And then the 1 and the 2 stars are like the older C class properties, and they actually have the lowest vacancy rates. Okay, because they're just not impacted as much by all the new supply that's come on. And so we could see on average across the nation, our vacancy rate is 8.1%. We could see below the historical number is 6.8. So we're still above historical. And we could see a forecast going forward is that we're looking at a 7.4% vacancy rate. So that's what that is showing is the current vacancy rate is higher than what we're forecasting. So that's all good news. When we look at projections on the charts, we could see that. So again, this is from CoStar. That dotted line is where we are today in the middle of 2025. So the green line going down is vacancy, and we could see vacancy peaked about at the end of 2024, and it's already going down, and it's going to continue to go down nationally. And then the blue and the orange, the blue is the absorption, and the blue are the deliveries. And so you can see in the past, those blue lines were much, much higher than the orange. The orange is the absorption, which is the number of units rented. And so when we see the net deliveries going down, like check out what's going to happen at the end of 2025, and you see 2026 and 2027, we see the absorption, those orange bars are much higher than the deliveries. Okay. And this is why the vacancy nationally is going to continue to go down, down, down. So hopefully that makes sense. And how's that going to impact rents? Okay. You can see where we are now with that dotted line in the middle of 2025. And you see rents are going to continue to go up to a healthy, like 3% historical number. And that's the rent growth. And then you can see the actual rents, they keep going up every year. Okay, each and every year, the actual rents keep going up. This is one of my favorite ones, as we could see the price per unit pretty much bottomed out in 2024, and it's already trending upwards. Okay, you can see where the dotted line is. The price per unit is actually trending upwards. So if this hasn't, if you haven't been motivated yet to get into the game, what are you waiting for? Like, you don't want to wait until 2026 and 2027 when pricing is at 260,000 a unit again on average. Like, you want to get in now where it's, lower. And you can see, and Alex touched on this, that the sales volume was going up in 2024 every quarter, but then we had a lull, and it was because of the uncertainty with immigration, geopolitical events, tariffs. And so the transaction volume slowed down from the end of 2024, the first half of 2025. But now every indication I have is that it's going to start picking up again. So Alex, I'm just going to get through these slides and then see if you have any other comments on this. But the other thing that's optimistic for me is when you look at lease renewals across all property classes, A, B, and C, we can see that the lease renewals are up. And so more and more people are staying put, and we're getting bigger and bigger rent increases, which is not shown here, but I know that because I'm a student of the game, and it's what's happening across my communities and so many other people in the Sunrock community that own apartment buildings, is we're seeing not only the conversion rates going up, but the rental rates on the renewals are going up as well. And then we look at things like, the supply pressure. If we look at 2024 with the new supply versus 2025, it's down across the board. It's down in Dallas, it's down in Austin, it's down in Houston, it's down in North Carolina, it's down in Orlando, Atlanta, San Antonio, Tampa, Nashville, Jacksonville, like every single major market, the supply is going down. And again, what that's going to do, and what it's already doing, is it's going to increase occupancy and increase rents, not to mention any type of value add. And then finally, we look at cap rates, and we can see cap rates kind of peaked in 2024. And now we can see over like the last year, they haven't gone up anymore. Okay. They haven't gone up anymore. So, there's so many indications, and sales price, actually, if you see the sales price in this 2025 all the way to the right, sales price has eked up a little bit. So there's so many indications that we've bottomed out and actually hit the bottom, and things are starting to turn. Okay. So this is what I'm excited about. And, I just wanted to, I mentioned in the beginning, but I'm excited about this event because for the first time ever, I'm going to take this event to a different city, and it's going to be in Las Vegas. It's a 2-day event. It's July 19 and 20. Bill Walsh is going to be there, and he's a global business expert, and he's going to talk about business and entrepreneurship, and we're going to talk about real estate, of course. And I'm going to be teaching my framework. I'm going to be teaching the 3 ways to invest. I'm going to be teaching about the difference in returns between GPs and LPs. I'm going to be talking about cash flow. I'm going to be talking about appreciation. I'm going to be talking about reducing and eliminating your taxes. Alex is going to be there speaking as well. And Alex is local to Vegas and he knows the market really well. So, Alex, any other comments and what are you excited about to be at this event?
I'm really excited to see, people learning. I think it's a time that it's unprecedented. Like 10 years ago, you buy any real estate, and it's a slam dunk, right? Like everyone became kind of like gurus in real estate. We're in a time where people are getting kind of punched, and this is a great time to learn. Um, and I'm excited for more, people to learn about commercial real estate and about what you're doing and buying apartments. Um, just there's so many great opportunities here. And like you said, I think indicators are showing that things have bottomed out, but I don't really know for sure. But you don't have to wait to the bottom. You just got to get started now. And yeah, I'm excited to be at that event. I'm excited to see everybody and meet new people.
Yeah, Alex, I love what you said. Like, I don't know if it's the bottom either, but what I do know is I look at indicators. I'm a data-driven guy, and I also look at history. So everything that I see shows me that if it hasn't bottomed out, it's really close,
Hmm.
and it's a good buying opportunity. And so here's what I did, everybody. I threw up the QR code, but I want to explain how this event's going to be different than any other event I've ever done. Um, the design of this event we're doing in Las Vegas, July 19th and 20th, it's going to be an intimate event. And this is $1,000 event. And the thing is, for people that click on that QR code, there's an application. And the application is going to ask you like 6 or 7 really simple questions. And if you're approved, you're going to come as my complimentary guest. And here's why. I want to hand select the people that are in the room. Okay. So we're going to make sure that the people in the room deserve to be in the room. They're the right people in the room. And who are the right people? The right people are people with good income, some financial resources, the right level of interest. You don't have to have any pre-existing real estate experience. I mean, I didn't have any pre-existing real estate experience when I got in, but I was hungry. I was coachable. I was eager to learn. I had a decent job. I had a little bit of money saved up. And so that's what we're looking for. Like if you got a decent income and you got a little bit of money, because look, it takes money to be an investor. Like buying apartments is not for the no job, no money, no credit people. No, I'm not saying you can't succeed if you're in that situation. And I have had students that have succeeded, but we're looking for like a curated event with people that are ready to learn and then not only learn, but like take action. So again, you click on the QR code. This is $1,000 event that you cannot pay me to attend. Okay, you cannot buy a ticket. It is application only. It's 6 or 7 simple questions. And my team will review your application and get back to you in 24 hours and let you know if you're approved. And so that's how we're running this event. And we're getting an amazing response so far. The average person in the room has a net worth of over $1 million and an income of over 100,000. So I'm not saying that you have to have that, but that's the type of room you're going to be in, just so we're clear there. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I think Bill is on as well. And are we still sharing the screen or did it go away? Because it's still on my screen. And I'm still learning how
What's
to
up,
use all my
Bill?
fancy studio
Hey guys,
equipment.
how are you?
Hey, Bill.
What's up, brother? I'm coming to you guys live from Vegas where we're having a sandstorm 60 stories up. Pretty crazy.
No kidding.
It's a very different view.
Hey, I
Hello,
don't know how long
everybody.
you've been on, but I know you're going to be at my event in Vegas too.
I've been on listening to your recap, which is awesome. I would just tell everyone to be really present to what a company is doing. I'm not sure
I
if you know this or not, but BlackRock now has $12 trillion under asset management. And the deals they're making on commercial offices, you're talking about they're buying some commercial buildings at 10 cents to 25 cents on the dollar and paying cash for it. So even though there's going to be challenges, sometimes the greatest deals you're ever going to make, which I'm sure Brad will cover this, please write this down, is during times of distress. We sat today with the Attorney General of Nevada, the former Attorney General. And this is a guy that he's the chairman of the board of a company called Capriati's. He sits on multiple boards at the highest level. And he talked all about the future of what's happening in our country. And he believes, and I believe, that there's what's called a race towards singularity. There's going to be something that where you get to a point where the machines and people are going to have to coexist. And the fact of the matter is the machines are winning at this point in terms of what they can get done for you on a timely basis. But when you think about this, and people are going to be going through some challenges right now as banks are facing short-term issues like liquidity issues that Brad was talking about, you don't look at this as a negative for you. You look at this as a positive for you. Now, if you're sitting on 10,000 doors or 20,000 doors, then you've got to become a great negotiator. You've got to realize that banks do not want to be in the real estate business. BlackRock does. BlackRock will gladly come in and buy the stuff off at pennies on the dollar. But this is the time to really understand how to put together proper syndications, how to really learn how to get capital in line so when these deals do come along, and they're going to come along. I have a client here in Vegas that the last year alone, we've spent $90 million buying property, all in cash. So understand that when things are really tough for some people, that's the greatest time for you guys to take a step back, get the best training, put together some of the best partnerships, understand how to do syndications like you've never done before, and get yourself to the front of the line. As a business strategist, we're excited about all the opportunities in Dubai and the Middle East and the USA, but this is still the greatest country in the world. There is no doubt that we're going to go through good times, bad times. I was on News Nation just a couple weeks ago. Oh, the tariffs are bad. Oh, the market's going to go do this. Write this down, you guys. Buy the rumor and sell the fact. Oh my God, the sky is falling. Great. When the sky's falling, you should be out there with your buckets collecting some of the rain. This is your time. Don't let fear set in. Don't let people get into your head that, oh my God, everything's so bad. No, everything's so bad for those that want to keep turning on CNN and some of these news networks. But everything's really good for those that are tuned in. And that's what I love what Brad is doing, is he's putting together events like this where you get both sides of the coin. You get to see exactly where it's at. And if you listen to his presentation, he's giving it to you right off the bottom line facts.
And so, Bill too,
look
Bill,
forward to seeing everybody there.
Bill, I love what you're saying too. And I don't know if you were on, but
I was.
My background is engineer. So I can't help but pour the data into them because I'm this highly intuitive guy now, and I see the opportunities, and I'm buying a deal right now myself, 160 some unit, a $30 million deal. And I see the opportunity, and yet I want to show people not just what I'm doing, but I also want to show them the numbers and the facts and the figures, and all the data is pointing toward that we're at or near the bottom, and it's also turning. And so I've been saying this for a year, and some people have listened, but at some point, it's always a good time to buy, but I never try to time the market, but I understand it. I understand the market, and now is at the bottom.
It's not brain surgery to realize, watch what the really smart money does. I have a client, he says, Bill, the worst days in my life over the last 50 years, as I look back, were the days where I sold pieces of my real estate. He wishes he kept them all. So if you're a long-term thinker and you really start to look at the macro and the micro, there's nothing wrong with being conservative in your approach and do your homework, but this is the time to get your bullets ready to go. This is the time to get your bankrolls. Hey, listen, if this makes sense, you guys, put a 1 in the chat box. If what we're talking about, just put a 1 in the chat box if you're liking the conversation. And then whatever you got to do, go apply for the Rat Race event and come out to Vegas and hang out with us for, I don't know if it's a day or two event, but whatever it is that it takes to get a ticket for the event, you want to be in that room. And you guys know I speak all over the world on launch, grow, build business. I believe in Brad Sumrock. I love Alex Lovely. He's another great friend. And I really do think that this is your time. This is the perfect time to do your homework and be prepared for what's coming. So is there any other questions you got for me, Brad? Otherwise, I got to run, buddy.
No, and well, the other question is, were we able to reach Ken, or do we need to bring him on?
He's going to be on next month. He can be on next month. He can't make it today. He really trying to do everything he could to be on here, but he had some things taken care of today that just are not going to allow him to be on the broadcast today.
Yeah, well, hey everybody, I apologize for that. It was worth a shot. Like we talked to him
Well,
this
we
weekend.
we thought it could happen, but he had and I can't go into it, but he had a couple things come up today that just he just couldn't break away. So that's enough said.
Well, hey, thanks, Bill. Thanks, Alex.
But he's a big believer and he'll be there. So I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys in Vegas.
All right. Hey, Alex, you want to stay on? I'll see you, Bill. So
Thanks,
if someone
guys.
on the Sunrock team wants to drop in the chat box, someone on the Sunrock team drop in the chat box. So there's a URL that you could go to in the chat box. And then let me pull up the slide again here. And then I could do a few questions, and then I like to keep these to about an hour. And Alex, do you want to add in anything here while I'm trying to get the slide deck back up on here?
Yeah.
Anything that Bill said or anything else you want to share?
Well, I think we're kind of just all sharing the same thing here. It's the urgency of like, look, this is the time, right? You rather take some action now than to look back later and said, man, I was in this webinar, I should have took some action. My whole life could be so different. And the fact that you guys are here, there's no accidents. Think about how many left turns and right turns you had to make your whole life to make it to this moment to hear this information. And the room that you've created. I mean, this is genius, Bradley. What you've created here, with the curated room. I'm so excited. I think this is going to be such a phenomenal event. If you guys can make it in there, like, do what you can to be in this room.
Yeah, and I want to speak about that because I've never done that before either. I would just sell tickets.
Smart.
I've never done this before. I would just sell tickets for a couple $100. And my thought was the more the merrier. And we always had great events. Like, I'm not taking anything away from anything I've done in the past, but I wanted to try something different this time. So my intention is there's going to be less people in the room. But for people that are qualified, you don't have to pay, but it's an application and I personally review them. And so, we're going to ask you about, certain things and I could just walk you through it. We're going to be like, what do you do for a living and what's your current income and net worth and where are you at in the spectrum of experience? Are you just starting out? Are you doing, what are you investing in? Are you investing in stocks or crypto or metals or real estate, and what type of real estate? And it's a really simple form where we just have boxes to check. So you don't even have to type in anything. It's like multiple choice, and you don't have to give us your exact numbers. There's ranges of income and ranges of net worth. So nobody's going to have to disclose like their actual, situation. And we made it really safe and secure that nobody has access to it except me and my top 2 team members, and that's it. And so it's going to be confidential, and we're going to look at it and based on how you complete it, because look, I've been doing this. I've been investing for 23 years, Alex, and I've mentored people since 2006. I've mentored thousands and thousands of people. And so I have a good feel for like, I mean, of course it takes commitment, it definitely takes commitment, but we're going to vet the people that are based on their application, and we're going to have the right people in the room. So I'm excited about that. I don't know what happened to my screen. It just went out. So could you guys see anything here?
We see you.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's any questions. If anyone has any questions in the chat, I saw somebody, and I just want to bring it up, man, because I'm an open book. I saw somebody say, hey, I love this. I love the positivity, but I'm in a challenge deal. And here's my offer. If you're in a challenge deal, whether you're in my community or whether you're in a challenge, if you're in a challenge deal, meaning like you got into the business a couple of years ago and your deal isn't doing well and you might be faced with a loss, whether you're a student of mine or not, I'm going to invite you to contact me. Okay. And I'm going to put my email in this chat. And I'm not saying that I could fix your problem, but I'm saying I'm willing to listen to what's going on and see if there's anything I could do. And I can just share with you that, like, I got a couple challenge deals myself. And what I want to share is, like, I'm in this deal that's in Nashville, Tennessee, and our 3-year loan, we bought it in 2022. We have a 3-year loan. Our 3-year loan expires today. Today. So, like, last month, we get our last loan statement, and it says you got to pay off the loan of $40,340,000. Well, I know I've done well over the years, but I don't have a $40 million to just pay off that loan. And so we were working with the lender, and these loans are like 3-year loans with 1-year extension. But to get the extension, you got to meet certain performance hurdles. And I mean, look, just to be clear, our NOI is substantially higher today than when we bought the property, but so is the expenses. You know, the expenses are higher, but our NOI is still higher. So we've done well with net operating income, but the cap rates have changed and the interest rates have changed. You know, so the deal, you know, hasn't panned out as well. And it's probably not worth what we paid for it right now. And so, you know, doing a 1-year extension was what we were looking at. And we were close to getting it approved. And then the beginning of June, we get a letter saying our loan has been sold. Our note has been sold. So you heard Bill and Alex mention about BlackRock buying like $2 billion worth of notes. Well, BlackRock didn't buy our note, but a private equity company in New York City bought our note. And we have 17 days to figure out what we're going to do. 17 days. And so I just want to tell you that the ending that hopefully will be happy is we went up there, we met with them, and we talked to them about how we're running the property and how we have boots on the ground and how it's going to be in everybody's best interest for us to keep going. Like, we've never missed a payment and we don't intend to miss the payment. And let me just share with you this. We walked out of that room after 47 minutes with a commitment, not for a 1-year extension, but for a 3-year extension. We got a 3-year extension. We showed them a projection for 3 years, how they're going to make money and how our investors are going to be made whole and make some money, and about how we're going to continue to serve the community. And this new equity company, they're like, we don't want to take over the property. We just wanted to make sure you guys were on point and had a plan. You know, so thanks for coming up here. So we're getting a 3-year extension. We don't have to buy a rate cap. We got all of our extension fees back-ended when we exit the deal. And so, like, it was almost like a miracle. Now, I'm not saying everybody could create a miracle with their lender. And I'm sure there's some scenarios where, you know, lenders might just want to take over the property, you know, based on their business model. But what I'm saying is, like, you got to have a plan, you got to have an intention, and you got to put your best shot out there and go and have a face-to-face meeting. Don't do these meetings over the phone or through email and try to negotiate a loan extension through an email. So, you know, if anybody's in a challenge situation, whether you've never talked to me before, or whether you're one of my mastermind students, like, I want to hear from you, because I might be able to share with you some insights on what we're doing and how we're doing it. So I put my email in there. Okay. And this is my personal email. Like, I'll put it in again. So any other comments, Alex, or, I don't know if I told you that story, Alex. I don't think I told you, but, like,
No,
literally,
but I
up in
mean,
New
I
York
was starting to sweat a little bit listening to that story, because there are a lot of people right now there's money that is waiting to buy distressed assets, right? Just like we're saying the opportunity is there for us. That's where the money is waiting for right now. They're buying notes at a discount. They're giving you 60 days to get out of refinance your loan. And if you don't, they're just going to take over, right? Like that. I mean, if they take over at the price of your note, they basically bought a property for less than, for basically 40% discount, maybe more, depending on how much they pay for the note. So there's going to be a lot of things like this happening. I think it's important to be in the right room to hear the stories, right? Like Bradley was able to, navigate through it. Perhaps that's going to inspire you or something, encourage an idea for you to do something that can save your deal.
Well, and you
But
got to have a face-to-face
you got,
meeting.
yeah. But one of the
And you
things
and
too,
you
yeah, go
and you
ahead.
got to discover what their goals are. Like we could have went up there and they could have said, "Hey, thanks for coming, but we're going to foreclose on you in 17 days."
Yeah.
And I had a whole preparation though in case they said that. I was going to say, "Well, we came up here to see what we could do to not have that happen, and we were still going to put our best foot forward." Because look, when they take over deals, like who's going to asset management? Who's going to property manage it?
Hmm.
You know, we actually had a BOV that showed the property was worth less than the note what they paid.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
no, I'm not saying it was, but somehow we got hold of a BOV that said, "Hey, look, if you take over this prop, we didn't have to show it to them, but we had it."
Hmm.
So like if the note's 40 million, we had a BOV was showing it was less than 40 million. So like if you just take over the deal, you actually have some work to do to like make money for your investors.
Hmm.
So there's all kind of things that you could possibly do. And all you want them to do is say, okay, well, you know what? And you know what the lender told us, Alex? They said, we normally don't do this. First, when we asked for a meeting, they said, we don't have borrowers in our office. We only have investors. But since you asked, we can make it happen. And then we looked at their website and we asked for specific people to be in the room, the managing director, the portfolio manager, everything. So we got the right people in the room. And we were prepared. Like we had this whole decision tree. Like if they say they want to take over the property, here's our plan. But when we walked in, they said the last thing we want to do is take over the property, and we're very bullish on Nashville. So then we presented our 3-year plan, and we got 6 out of the 7 things that we presented. They
Wow.
lowered the interest rate. They back ended our extension fees. We don't have to buy a rate cap. We could have an interest reserve instead of a rate cap, which means if the rates don't go up, like we're in the money and we get all the money back out of the interest escrow.
That's, stories like that really inspire hope, and I really, it'd be great just to share more of that too. And
And I'll be honest though,
yeah.
like, I'm a guy that lived in Texas and Florida, like, and I'm going up to Wall Street, and these guys can probably run circles around me, but I can tell you this, they don't have my heart,
Mhm.
and when you have an in-person meeting, and Alex, you know this, because you talk about creating miracles every day. If you can get in there and have them connect with you as a person, and when we walked out with a 3-year extension, you know what they said? They said, we've never done this before,
Mm, yeah.
but we're
I, I
doing it here.
I haven't really heard about that happening anywhere either. So, what I wanted to say is like it's so important to be around people that are at the next level. Like what I've been going through and some of the deals that we've had challenges with, without someone like Bradley and my other mentors to share and give different perspective, it would be extremely hard. And so I'm grateful for my mentors in the space. I'm grateful for the advice that I've gotten, and that's, I think people need to be around that. Be in the right room, be around the people that are doing these deals and learn from them. There's pitfalls and there's holes that you don't have to fall in if you're just in the right place at the right time. And you have to say yes to certain things in order to be in those rooms. Have to show up for your own success
Yeah, as
story,
Bill
as
Walsh
Bill
says,
always
you got to
says.
show up
Yeah,
for your own success.
yeah. Bill, I mean, that's a great line right there. You got to show up for your own success
Yeah,
story, he says, your own success
yeah.
story.
Well, hey everybody, it's nice to see you. We're at the top of the hour, and so I like to finish up when I say I'm going to finish up at the top of the hour. Thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. I hope. How many people are applying to come to Vegas? Just if you're coming to Vegas or you're applying, type in Vegas. I want to see, because look, I hope tonight moved the needle for you. But if we can move the needle for you in an hour, imagine what we could do in 16 hours. Okay. And again, it's $1,000 ticket that I'm comping you as my VIP guest for people that are approved. Okay. So I love it. There's a lot of people in here typing in Vegas. Manish, Jennifer, Rama, Kalina, Jim, Jamie, TJ, Roberto, Minderpaul, Devin. Some of you already applied because I see some of you and I recognize your names. So look, if you already applied, you don't have to apply again. If you already applied, my team has been reaching out to you. And here's the other thing, Alex, people were applying and they're putting in like a fake phone number. And I'm like, how could we call you to confirm you're coming if you put in a fake phone number? I mean, I know why you're doing it because you're thinking I'm going to spam you or like sell your information. I ain't going to do that shit. I promise you. Like, but if you apply and then you're approved and we can't reach you, like, I don't know how that's serving you, by the way. Honestly. Like, I promise you, I don't sell your data and I'm not going to abuse you. And if we happen to, you could just type stop, you know, and I'm just saying it's not going to happen, but if it did, you could control that. So please put in your phone number correctly, in your email correctly, because if you're approved, what's happening is we're having some people that are just typing in A, B, C, D, E, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0 for their phone number. All right. I'll stop ranting.
Hey, Bradley, thank you for sharing this, you know, and I'm honored to be here. I'm honored to be in this event with you. I love the version of you that also refound faith. I think that's so important. And I'm just excited to, you know, watch your journey and be on this journey with you.
Oh, well, for people that come to Vegas, they're going to hear the whole transformation, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I mean, I promise you, we're going to talk real estate and I'm going to teach you my system. But an important part of where I'm at and where I've been through is actually going through the last 2 years where I've had, you know, divorce, I've had media attacks, I've had haters. I mean, I spun out and hit rock bottom. I had anxiety, depression, all kind of things that I did my best to hide for so long. And then I decided, like, for number one, I'm not hiding anymore. And number two, what I realized is, like, I always believed in God, but like I just pushed God out of my life for like 30 years. And when I let God back into my life, everything shifted.
Yeah. Chills from that. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that.
All right,
Cool.
everybody.
Well, thank you, everybody.
I hope to see as many people as possible in Vegas. Sunrock team, could you put the URL in here again? Okay, it's in there right now under Sunrock support. It's application only. Again, you cannot buy a ticket, and but it's not so hard to be approved. I mean, as long as you have good income, good intentions, a little bit of money to invest. Because look, to be a passive investor, you know, you need to have something. You need to have 25, 50K or whatever. So like, we're not looking for millions of dollars. I don't want to dissuade anybody from applying. I want to encourage you to apply because like sometimes I see the potential in you that you don't even see for yourself. So you may not think you qualify, but if you fill out the application, I'm going to see something that you may not see. And that's also what a good mentor does is, you know, I've had a lot of my students tell me, Alex, they say, Brad, thank you because you believed in me before I believed in myself.
Yeah. And it's because you've walked the path. You know, you've been there, you've done it, and you can see it when other people can't.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right, man. I'll let
All right.
everybody go. Thanks, Alex. I'll see you in Vegas, and I hope to see as many of you there too.
Let's go.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye-bye.